Hatchetfield, a small town with typical small town problems. People fall in love. People start families. They think about the future. They go shopping.
Hello, Wendy Wins.
They submit to godlike forces they cannot control or understand. They accidentally turn their classmates into demonic entities.
I'm free. And you know what that means, bitch? No more Mr. Nice Guy.
Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Almost Greek, one might say. The Hatchetfield series of plays by Star Kid Productions are the perfect synthesis of Greek theater values and a cute little modern musical horror comedy package. They go for the same types of laugh, utilizing self-aware and vulgar comedy. Every Hatchetfield story follows at least 2 out of the 3 Unities as a way of making that Greek value fit better with the modern sensibility. The Hatchetfield Saga has 3 main full-length titles: The Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals, Black Friday, and Nerdy Prudes Must Die, along with 12 30-minute musicals that comprise the Nightmare Time series, written by Matt and Nick Lang, with music by Jeff Blim. Obviously, there is a Greek influence in the form of the Lords in Black, Wigog Urath being Zeus, Blinklotep being Hyperion, Tenoi Caraxes being Kronos, and Nibelunethen being Dionysus, with Pekotho being Hypnos. But the truly interesting thing is how these stories have augmented the Unities to make a Greek structure fit to the modern audience, usually abiding by at least 2 out of the 3 Unities at a given time. There are 3 Unities. The Unity of Time, which means it takes place over a single day, 24 hours. The Unity of Place, which means everything happens in one location. And the Unity of Plot, which means there is one plot and no subplots. Each Hatchetfield story perfectly exemplifies this Aristotelian method of thinking. And here's how.
Girl, yeah, he knocked her.
To keep things simple, we're going to go through each Unity and how it applies to all 3 titles, starting with the Unity of Plot. To see this Unity in action, I've broken each plot down to 1 sentence.
This is humanity's 11th hour.
The Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals follows Paul and his friends who are trying to escape the hands of Pekotho, who is trying to turn the entire world into a musical.
What is this business? Markets are crashing and I'm at the edge of my wits. I just can't take it.
Black Friday follows the people of Hatchetfield on Black Friday, as they desperately try to get a Tickle Me Wiggly doll, this year's hottest Christmas present, inhabited by the god Wigog Urath.
I need a wiggly doll. Ideally 4 of them.
Nerdy Prudes Must Die follows 4 Hatchetfield teens trying to survive high school. Being bullied by Max Jagerman, the football star, they do whatever they can to avoid being bullied, which includes a sacrifice to the Lords in Black in the woods.
Who will pray for you? Who will pray for when your body's gone? This is the consequence for what you've done.
The next Unity we'll be discussing is the Unity of Time, meaning everything takes place within one singular time frame. The Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals and Black Friday both take place over one singular business day, with Black Friday starting the morning of Black Friday, and The Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals starting at midnight the morning of the day of which the apocalypse begins.
And I've prepared something for the occasion.
Nerdy Prudes Must Die, however, adjusts this unity, making it from 1 day to 1 month. This way they are able to narratively show how The community changes when Max Jagerman dies and temporarily stops bullying them because, he's dead and can't do that from the grave, right? Then when he's resurrected by the Lords in Black and the curse of the Whale Place, it's more narratively impactful, this change that he has caused. We're able to go from seeing what the world was like with Max Jagerman to what the world was like without Max Jagerman, and that makes his return much more impactful dramatically. So the distortion of this unity is a necessity in order to engage the modern audience. The final unity at play here is place, meaning that the show takes place at one location. Black Friday does this the easiest by being set in the Hatchetfield Mall on Black Friday. However, there are the occasional scene that takes place in the black and white, a perverted version of Hatchetfield that Wiggly has built himself. This, however, I feel, still falls within the unity of place because we only ever experience and see one location. We have no scene changes in Black Friday.
Christmas? It's going to be my birthday,
The guy who didn't like musical abides by the rule of place by staying within Hatchetfield. However, it is not a specific building or location within Hatchetfield, and all of the transportation is implied to be within walking distance. So it's not any unreasonable levels of transport taking place within one day, abiding by the Aristotelian method of thought. We see places around Hatchetfield, like Paul's office, his favorite coffee shop, Emma's kooky professor's house. This is all important in terms of introducing us to the place that is Hatchetfield, but is still anchored in the Starlight Theater, the location of the meteor.
Hello! Please, God, I just want a black coffee!
Black coffee, I'm your coffee guy.
No!
Nerdy Prudes Must Die follows a similar set of rules, with all the action being anchored in Hatchetfield High School, but taking us to places that have been made familiar to viewers of the series over the 5 years of its release. Places like Beanie's or the Chastity's house. This distortion of the unity of place is extremely important in the fact that the plot is anchored in the haunting of Whale Place.
Oh, and the skeleton. Oh, that was really special.
The story could not have happened if Max Jagerman hadn't gone to Whale Place that night. We would not have been able to experience this story anywhere else than Hatchetfield, and that is why Aristotle's unity of place applies to Nerdy Prudes Must Die, because he must be in Hatchetfield, and he must die at the Whale Place in order for the story to even happen. In essence, the unity of place may be the most important factor of all when talking about the Hatchetfield series. The shows inherently have to take place at Hatchetfield, which makes Aristotle's logic on why everything needs one location when telling a story that much more important, because it could not happen anywhere else. The Unities barely functioned properly in ancient Greece, let alone in a modern contemporary theater setting. But when you take them and use them as a base structure for your content, you're able to create something that's anchored in simplicity, place, and a time period, making for a more entertaining final product that people are able to connect to, and the simplicity allows us to make it an interwoven universe of storytelling.
You're the guy who doesn't like musicals, Paul, right?
Hatchetfield is the inherent combination of modern sensibilities and Greek thought processes. By making something that feels so very Greek but so very modern and rooted in our modern vernacular, while still having that essence of Greek structure and Greek values, we're able to make a really interesting and original product that no one else has tried making at this time. So while Aristotle would probably say, "Never!" to the idea that these follow his unities, I would have to respectfully disagree.